It is our distinct pleasure to welcome you to a candid conversation for your edification.
We are a group of people who have discovered that honesty and authenticity reside at the core of how we navigate through life.
We use our experiences and perspectives to consistently and intentionally build each other up.
We speak life and we speak truth.
We honor the capacity within ourselves, within each other, and within all of you.
We honor the journey and we honor the growth.
Join us as we speak candidly,
as we speak truth to power
and to the process.
And we promise that you will leave this experience
more full,
more uplifted,
and more edified.
Welcome back, dear friends. We are back with another episode of A Candid Conversation for Your Edification. This is our 5th installment of the WAP series.
What about pills?
And what about them pills? But just a disclaimer, for our safety, we are convening via Zoom today.
Yeah, we had to take care of ourselves. Cases are not going anywhere. I mean, we're seeing a lot of spikes in cases. We just have to be ever mindful.
Yes, COVID continues to hit very, very close to home with friends, families. So we want to be mindful of ourselves, our friends, and our community.
Yeah, and right now we're actually filming in the midst of holiday season, and this is the time where, we want to travel, we want to see loved ones, and that's not helping the cases. So we have to just be ever mindful, ever vigilant, and just thoughtful of the health of ourselves and others.
Absolutely. And speaking of this, we want to continue to give praise and appreciation to our healthcare professionals. Thank you for protecting, for serving, for being forever vigilant during this pandemic. Your work is not forgotten or undervalued.
Yeah, so thank you, Lydia, for lifting that up. Every day our healthcare professionals are putting their lives on the line, their livelihoods, their time, their energy, and their resources, in an effort to keep us safe, to keep us healthy, and to combat this pandemic. So we just want to give that appreciation.
Come on, let's give thanks. Hey, Shata, our Lord and Savior and these healthcare professionals. I'm just joking. We got to liven it up a little bit, y'all. It's a heavy topic, but, we always want to keep it candid over here. So speaking about healthcare professionals, we are so privileged to welcome one today as our guest, baby. Yes.
Yes. And who is our guest, actually?
I'm so excited. So today, our special guest is none other than Dr. Ashley Shuman. She is a member of our ACC family.
Yes.
Adam, let everybody know what ACC stands for.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Lydia. ACC stands for A Candid Conversation. Catch that acronym.
Catch that acronym. Hey. So anyway, yes, Ashley is a dear friend to our show and our resident medical expert.
Yes.
She's native of Savannah, Georgia. And Dr. Ashley Shuman received her pharmacy degree from St. Louis College of Pharmacy, and she currently works as a pharmacy resident at Missouri Baptist Center. In her short time as a resident, she has led so many pharmacy students and managed numerous of patients and has made a tremendous impact in our community. And I believe all of us believe that she has made our community in this world a better place because of her passion and desire to help and to serve.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just so excited. And I'm so thankful that Ashley is here with us today. Lydia, when are we going to hear from her?
Just as soon as we hit these bills paid, right after this message from our sponsors.
Hey y'all, it's Precious Simone with Precious Simone Inspires LLC. Y'all know I'm in the business of inspiring and motivating and encourage others to walk in their purpose. That's what I'm all about. I believe that individuals have the ability to unlock their potential when they dismantle disempowering beliefs and they do whatever it takes to go after their goals, after their dreams, and be an active candidate in their own personal growth. You have to be a participant. Nobody else can grow you like you. You know yourself better than anybody. And I'm telling you, you know what you need to be successful. All of the keys to be successful are locked on the inside of you, but you don't know how to use your keys. And so I'm here to encourage you how to use your keys to be successful. In my new book, yes, y'all, my new #1 new release, my best-selling book, Whatever It Takes Evolve, here it is. I give you some life-altering tips to help you grow, to help you push yourself, stretch yourself, and come out of your comfort zone so that you can go to the next level in your life. So you can purchase this online, Amazon.com, y'all. Here it is. And also, I got my lovely growth apparel. Let's evolve together. Nobody is in this journey alone. You can find this on my website, www.precioussimone.com, y'all. Come on, let's grow.
All right, y'all, we are back and we want you to help us welcome Dr. Ashley Shuman. Woo! Yes. So, Ashley, girl, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good, blessed, and highly favored.
Yes, ma'am.
Amen.
So, Ashley, so while you are a good friend of the show and a good friend to us, you're also an expert in the medical field. So as a pharmacist, you have some valuable knowledge in the healthcare sector. Right now, as we all know, COVID weighs heavily on our hearts and minds. Yeah. And one of the most recent developments is this vaccine. And it's been a hot topic.
Yep.
So we're gonna ask you some questions like surrounding vaccines in general, the COVID vaccine specifically, so you can just give us and our listeners just some expert understanding of what all this means.
Okay, I'll do my best.
All right, girl. So first things first, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You know, I did a little bit of an introduction, but can't nobody talk about you like you can, girl.
Right. All right. So yes, I am a pharmacist at Missouri Baptist Medical Center. I am an alumna of Spelman College. Shout out to Spelman in Atlanta, where I got my undergrad degree in biology. And I got a second degree from Still Cop in 2017 and recently graduated with my doctorate of pharmacy in 2020, this past May. And I'm currently a resident. And essentially what a resident, that encompasses all medical professionals getting extra clinical training, whether that's a physician, dentist, me as a pharmacist. And essentially in my job, I'm responsible for not just counting pills, but actually managing patients where I go on rounds with the medical team and give my recommendations as far as pharmacotherapy right in that moment. I'm also responsible for, putting together lectures for students and, giving continual educational credits, educational presentations to other pharmacists. And yeah, that's a little bit about what I do. Also at the end of the day, I basically tell people my essential job as a pharmacist, because we're considered the, pharmaceutical, the medication experts, right? My job is not just to count pills. At the end of the day, I tell people that I don't want you on medication, but if you are, my job is to make sure that it's the most effective and the most safe for you to take. So.
All right. So, awesome. I mean, all right there, like you got
pharmacists count pills, girl.
Pharmacists don't just count pills,
They're just a tad bit more than that.
a lot more. So thank you for giving that perspective. So, so Ashley, how did you even get into pharmacy in the first place?
Yeah. So, I thought, as a young child, I was going to be a doctor, a physician, the doctor most of us are familiar with. And once I got into undergrad at Spelman, I did get my degree in biology. And, I shadowed some physicians and I was just like, this wasn't for me. And then I was an athlete, so I thought I was going to be a physical therapist. And I was like, It's not my lane either. But my cousin just got me a job as a pharmacy tech at CVS because I need a job and I needed some money. And that's how I got introduced to pharmacy, though. So that was my segue into learning what pharmacy was about. I already had a little bit of background because I took some chemistry classes and things like that. And then also just learning all the different avenues you could take as a pharmacist. There's nuclear pharmacy, there's pharmacists who not just work in, retail in the hospital. There's pharmacists who work for these pharmaceutical companies. There's pharmacists that you probably don't even know you talk to when you go to see your doctor. We're everywhere, so that's how I initially got interested in the realm of pharmacy and have come to love what I do and what my profession stands for, and how we're able to help out people. So
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I think we're a little bit more enlightened about what pharmacy really is about, but I know there's so much more. So before we dive into that, let's get down to business, okay? I know we wanted to talk about the pharmacy, the COVID vaccine and stuff like that, but before we get there, let's talk about vaccines in general. Like, what are they? Like, so many times, like, we're told, like, okay, go take the flu vaccine or this vaccine, the polio, the chickenpox, all these other things. And then ultimately, sometimes we get sick because of it. So what is a vaccine really, and how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what a vaccine is basically, it's, a substance, a molecule, sometimes taken orally. Most of the time it is injected into the body to essentially help your body build up an immune response to something bad, infection, disease, as we've seen, like you mentioned, chickenpox, measles, mumps, polio, flu shot, hepatitis A, hepatitis B. That's essentially what a vaccine is in general. It's just to help your body raise an immune response. So when your body does come in contact with that disease, that infection, it's better equipped to fight it off. So when you think about when you get sick with the flu, on your own, you didn't get the flu shot or anything like that. And you think about, oh, I've been sick for 2 or 3 weeks with the flu, or however it might be, when you naturally, get a disease, it kind of takes your body a little bit longer to develop antibodies and, figuring out, essentially how your body wants to fight this disease off. And then you eventually get better because your body has figured out how to fight this infection, right? Well, when you think about a vaccine essentially just helps speed up that process, right? So when you get a vaccine, that vaccine is working a little bit faster to build up that immunity by building those antibodies a little bit quicker than if you were just to naturally get, the disease. So in all, when people are like, I got the flu shot and the flu shot gave me the flu, and it's like, any vaccine you get, it does not give you that disease. However, when some people feel like I felt sick, I felt a little ill, I had a fever, I was tired, had headaches after getting, I'm like, well, that's how you know that the vaccine is working. Because when you think about it, when you get sick, you have the same type of symptoms naturally, right? So if you get a vaccine and it's building an immune response, it's natural to have those side effects of you feeling not the best, you feeling tired, you having a headache. That lets you know that the vaccine is actually doing what it's supposed to do in the body.
Oh, well, okay. I mean,
Well,
like
there's
a class, right? I'm learning a great deal. So, so now that we have just some general working knowledge of what a vaccine is, let's talk more about the COVID-19 vaccine specifically. Like, what can you tell us about what's been going on with the vaccine, all that kind of stuff?
Right. And just let's be clear, there's multiple vaccines that are in the works by different pharmaceutical companies. However, the one, I'm specifically talking about is the one that's been rolled out by Pfizer, because that's the one that's got the emergency use authorization from the FDA, which is our approval organization for drugs in the United States. However, that doesn't necessarily mean it's been fully approved. What people have to understand is with the data that has already been brought out by Pfizer is that, the FDA has deemed this to be safe enough to roll out and effective enough to roll out. And essentially what this COVID vaccine from Pfizer is doing, and first of all, it's in 2 doses. So you get the first dose, you get the next dose 21 days or 3 weeks later. And after that, what this COVID vaccine is measuring for your ability to contract severe COVID after that second shot, right? So this is not necessarily looking at if this COVID vaccine is able to stop transmission from person to person. It's more so just looking at if this is going to be effective enough for somebody getting the COVID contracting it. It's not looking at transmission, but more so just contracting the vaccine, the infection, if that makes sense or whatnot. So essentially with it, when I was looking at the data, yeah, there are some side effects, some of the main side effects I saw were fatigue, headaches, chills. But again, just like I previously stated, that lets you know that the vaccine is working. That's normal. That's natural. Things happen. Again, depending on a person, some people have worse responses to vaccines than other people. It really all depends on the person. There have been some notifications from the media as far as, people having really allergic responses, some other things that have been seen. Now, granted, just understand that this vaccine, this is not the end of this data. This vaccine is being followed for the next 2 years. It's just that because we are in a pandemic right now, it's very imperative for us to get something that's going to help out, the whole world and the whole community. So no, this vaccine was not rushed. It is a certain type of vaccine, and I know a lot of people have had concerns about it being rushed, but the technology for developing this vaccine has been around for decades. It's been around since 1990. So this is nothing new as far as the development. It's just been a little bit fast tracked, and the study is still ongoing. But from what we've gotten so far from the data, it has shown to be safe and effective. So.
Okay, well, that in a nutshell, that's super helpful, especially for those who are a little bit ignorant as to what the COVID vaccine is, the levels of dosage, like who is it even available to, like who should take this? Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so right now the emergency use authorization from the FDA, right now, people who are eligible are healthcare workers. So that's who you're seeing getting it. My hospital has now started administering the vaccine to healthcare workers, as many other hospitals around the country right now, and in other states and continents as well. But when we think about who needs to get it after, healthcare workers, more so of, patients in nursing home and long-term care facilities, your more elderly patients. Honestly, from what I've looked at, I think, everybody who is eligible, of course, the criteria is right now for people who are 12 years and older. But, definitely if you have underlying, chronic conditions, even if you're a healthy person, I still would recommend that you get it. Now, in the case of somebody who's already contracted COVID, they've had a case of COVID already, I wouldn't necessarily say you should be first in line to get the COVID vaccine because you've already had it. So for you to most likely contract it again, not saying it couldn't happen, but it would be rare for that to happen. So I would say those people would be the last in line to get it. I mean, honestly, if you are, a healthy, 20, 30-year-old and you kind of wanted to wait to get the vaccine, I don't see a problem with that as well. But at some point, I would recommend everybody to get the vaccine at some point in time.
Good. Okay.
Again, I mean, thank you for your thorough response. Our listeners are, I hope they're soaking in it just as much as we are.
Right.
Yeah, I really hope this is helpful for you all and everybody
Oh,
else. So.
it totally is. So as a healthcare professional, for whom the vaccine is available, this is a personal question, like, do you plan to take the vaccine, and like, why or why not?
Yeah. So I think you guys already kind of figured that, yes, I do plan on taking the vaccine. And for my personal reasons, to be honest, as a healthcare professional, when I'm looking through this data, because as a pharmacist, I've spent the last 4 years of getting this training to be able to decipher through clinical studies, know what the limitations, what the strengths are, was it designed well or poorly? So I can decipher those things. And from what I've read through and looked at from my own studies, that this is safe and is effective. Now, from a personal standpoint, as you know, outside of just being a healthcare professional, just with some statistics for you guys, you know, this pandemic, this COVID infection is killing Black and brown people, Black and, you know, Latino, Hispanic community at a rate of 3 times more than white people. You know, we're hospitalized almost 4 times the rate of white people. So I definitely want to get this vaccine, not just for myself, but for my family, my friends, for my community, because if I'm asymptomatic, okay, but I still can spread it to somebody and it might kill them. And those are the things, you know, I just hope everybody, you know, I wish was thinking about, you know, just trying the overall good of everybody, you know, if we could take these precautions to help out the greater good. You know, you want to go out, you want to get on a plane, you want to turn up and live your life. Well, just do these things to help us get there a little bit quicker. But that's the reason why I would like to get the vaccine. From my medical expertise, this data has shown to be worthy of me recommending to other people and myself getting it. And then also just from the standpoint of what I've been seeing in the hospital, is that this is something definitely needed. Now, granted, although I do recommend the vaccine, that does not mean that we still don't have to take public health precautions. So I do recommend still wearing your mask, and washing your hands, you know, at least 20 seconds, social distancing, those type of things to help prevent the spread as well.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, that was so helpful, so enlightening. And a lot of those things, you know, they should be common knowledge. However, hearing it from a healthcare professional, I think just kind of solidifies that and just says like, look, as someone that's in this field every day that encounters others, these are things that truly do help to stop the spread. And of course, when that vaccine becomes available, do your due diligence to figure out if this is something that you should take, and it's something to take seriously for your family and your community. So final question for you, Ashley. We're going to kind of pivot away from the COVID conversation for a little bit. For our listeners that potentially want to pursue healthcare studies in pharmacy or just any other field within healthcare, what advice can you offer, especially since you have had a non-traditional route?
Yes, I definitely had a non-traditional route. So, you know, a little bit of speaking candidly, my background. So, you know, I told you guys I graduated from Spelman in 2010. So if you do the math, I'm 32 right now. And I took 5 years off before I actually got into pharmacy school, which actually took me 2 tries. I didn't get in the first time. So I had to apply again and I got in or whatnot. And so I had to take a untraditional path to get my, you know, doctorate degree. And that's okay. So, you know, what I really want to stress, you know, to people, whatever age, you know, you're just graduating from undergrad, starting undergrad, you know, whatever the case is, you're 5 years out like me, you know, you just need to be open to those opportunities when they're available to take. Always take those opportunities when they're available, you know, whether you think, you know, you're worthy of them or not, when they present themselves, you need to take them. Also, definitely, you know, shadow, you know, medical professionals when you can and build up a network because, you know, your network will definitely help you get you to places as well. So,
Absolutely.
Well, I think I can speak for all of us. offer our thanks. Like, so thank you so much for joining us today, offering your expert
No problem.
knowledge, your
Of course.
opinions, your perspectives. And it's just been an honor to have you here.
Thank you guys for having me. I've definitely enjoyed talking to you guys and just getting to share a little bit about what I do.
Absolutely. You are welcome anytime, honey, anytime. So, what an inspiring segment and story. Oh my gosh, actually, like it's incredible to hear that and very inspiring. Just as people want to change career paths and want to try something else, thank you for sharing and being so honest and open with us.
Of
We
course, of course.
certainly gained so much valuable insight from your expertise in the healthcare field and just as someone out here doing life, right?
Right.
To our listeners, folks, COVID-19 still remains to be a serious matter and issue. So please take heed to the advice that's been given to you. Please continue to wear your mask, stay indoors if you can. Keep your friends, your family, your loved ones safe. When the vaccine becomes available to you, do your due diligence, your research, and make the decision for yourself, okay?
And I said it better, Lydia.
Thank you. So, friend, what's next?
Yeah, so Ashley, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but I want to really kind of dig into a sentiment that we've seen on social media. So we know that there's an element of distrust, and elements of apprehension for taking the vaccine, especially in like Black and brown and marginalized communities. And I really want to unearth and surface for us and our listeners, like the socio-political implications of why this ethos of mistrust might exist. Like we can think about, there's so many dimensions of Black and brown disenfranchisement that we can really cite. We can think about just currently just police violence in general, the disposal of Black bodies, the continued marginalization of Black and brown communities, and what kind of implications that these bring around discussions about this new vaccine. Yeah.
Yes.
When we gonna do that though?
But you know what? Just after this short little break, all right?
Hi, my name is Ashley, and I am the owner of Lip Locked Cosmetics. Lip Locked is aimed to provide consistent products that prioritize lip health, lip moisture, and lip beauty. We exist to unlock your vibrant, healthy, and unapologetic self. Our core goals include be unapologetically you, make your impression, and healthy is beautiful. We offer all corners of lip care and make products that celebrate your right to be unapologetically yourself.
And we are back with the lovely Dr. Ashley Shuman. How you doing, Ashley?
I'm doing good, girl. How about you?
So previously, I mentioned to our listeners that we just want to, as one with proven expertise and knowledge in the medical field, as a pharmacist, as a woman, as a Black woman, I just want you to kind of just give insight into that ethos of mistrust and like the social political implications, where these things might have come from, and how they manifest themselves in these conversations about the current vaccine.
Yeah, so the distrust in the government, in the, healthcare field is very warranted, and it's been around for decades because there's been a multitude of things that have transpired that have brought that mistrust. And the first one I can think about is, the Tuskegee Airmen, study. Essentially, these were Black soldiers who were fighting for our country. They happened to contract, syphilis, which is a STD or whatnot. And they, how this study was presented to them was that they were getting free medical treatment, for their syphilis. And essentially the study was just tracking them over the years, over decades, to see how syphilis, essentially manifesting in the body or whatnot, and what complications it would bring, which is information we need. However, it was very unethical, because once there was a cure for syphilis, and once there was treatment for syphilis, these men were not offered that option for treatment. And that's where the unethicalness and, you know, the blatant disregard for people's lives, especially Black lives, came in that one instance. And so the next instance comes with, I don't know if a lot of people know the story of Henrietta Lacks, but she was a Black lady. She was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and during her treatment at the hospital, you know, she was getting biopsies done of her cancer cells. You know, they were taking cultures, taking samples, and then, you know, but they were using her cells essentially in cultures, you know, to study without her consent. You know, and she died or whatnot, and, you know, her cells became this, you know, human cell lineage that has been used for decades and decades for research and for a multitude of different stem cell cures and treatments. And she wasn't even recognized until years later that it was this Black woman that was able to give this multitude of knowledge to the science community with her body, you know, but this was all done without her consent. So I completely understand why the Black community has so much, you know, distrust, because it's the government's fault. They've put this fear in us that every time there's something that comes about that could be, you know, for the good of us, they think is to our detriment because of the things that have happened in the past. So I completely understand. Also, when you think about just health disparities in general now with people, you know, you're wondering why some people are unhealthy or why they're in circumstances. So you think about a Black woman who's overweight, considered obese, and she has uncontrolled diabetes, and she goes to her doctor's office and they're like, well, you need to get this better uncontrolled. You know, this is just crazy. How are you just unhealthy? And when you think about, well, where does this lady live? She lives in Ferguson, right? And there is not a healthy grocery store within 1 mile of her. What is that called? A food desert, when a community does not have a healthy access to food within 1 mile of them. Or does, you know, Miss So-and-so who has the, you know, uncontrolled diabetes, does she have access to get to these places? Why should she come in to pick up her medication? Does she have the money? Because her insulin is so expensive. There's a multitude of factors that goes into why somebody's unhealthy, and those are called health disparities, and that specifically usually affects the Black and brown community. And really, like, you know, your zip code can determine your health outcomes. And we see that here right in St. Louis with the Del Mar Divide. You can go 1 block and see these $1 million houses, and then the next block over, everything's run down. There's no resources in those communities. So I really think you know, that's reasons why our community are so hesitant and skeptical when it comes to healthcare. And I'm not upset with them for that, but that's also the reason why I became a healthcare professional. Even if it wasn't a pharmacist, I was going to be a physician. I was going to be a nurse. I was going to be something in healthcare healthcare profession, because I needed Black and brown people to see someone that looked like them that they can trust and give them valuable, informative information to make good decisions about their health.
Well, there you have it, folks. You have your healthcare professional right there that cares about you, that looks like you, that wants you to win and to survive during this pandemic. And then just to throughout the rest of your life, making good, informed decisions. So
yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you. I wish we could just keep you around forever.
That's my network. Like when I
get you guys all day, so.
Right. Again, thank you for your words, your counsel. your knowledge. So if listeners want to gain continued information about the vaccine, about COVID-19 in general, how can they stay informed?
Yeah. So the best way specifically right now to stay informed when it comes to COVID-19 would be www.cdc.gov. They're, putting out the most recent information. Also, the World Health Organization, www.who.gov would be your next resource. And hopefully, not to make this political, but with, the next transition, of office, there'll be more informative resources as well, since I know some of that has been limited due to our current administration right now and what they want people to know and not know. But as of right now, those would be your two best resources. And also, if you want to take the time to do some more digging, hopefully, if the scientific jargon doesn't get in the way, you can go onto Pfizer's website as well and look up this information, or to Moderna's website as well to look up about their vaccines. I know AstraZeneca is developing one. I believe Johnson & Johnson is developing one as well. So
awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. We have concluded another episode of A Candid Conversation for your edification. We hope that you leave feeling more full.
We hope that you are more uplifted.
And we hope that you are more edified. Special thanks to our partners, sponsors, and to you, of course, our listeners. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. So this concludes another episode of our WAP series. Stay tuned. Until next time, folks. Stay edified. Oh, also, Ashley, your shirt. We noticed.
Oh, did you?
So for all of you guys that are interested, who've been reaching out to us about these shirts, Rob Will Creations. Okay, you can find her on Facebook and Instagram. She does all of our designs. All right, y'all. Peace.
Hey, friends.
Follow us on Facebook at A Candid Conversation Podcast.
Follow us on Instagram at _candid_conversation.
And for more information, email us at acandidconversationpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you. Be edified.